never named Emmanuel. Right? It was descriptive. So if you read Isaiah 7, the prophet was sent to King Ahaz, and then from verse 10, moreover, the Lord spoke again to Ahaz, saying, ask for a sign from the Lord your God. Ask it either in the depth or in the height above. But Ahaz said, I will not, do that. And he said, hear now, O house of David. Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. The guy didn't ask, but God said, okay, I'm going to do it, right? Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Curds and honey and all those kind of things. Because before this time there was war, right? There was all news of war and everything. But I'm going to show you a sign that in the middle of all this, that God is with you. Right? That God is with you. So he's going to call his name Emmanuel. I know the way Mike is looking at me. Do you want telling me this is not about Jesus? Okay. For the child, so for before the child shall know to refuse evil and choose good, the land that you dread will be forsaken by both her kings. The Lord will bring the king of Assyria upon you and your people and your father's house, days that have not come since the days of Ephraim departed from Judah. And the story went on and on and on like that. And if you read it, because that's not this is a digression, right? If you read it, you realize that all those things the prophet said, right, actually happened. Let's look at where chapter 8, Assyria invaded the land, right? Right? Where is it where the guy actually, when he actually went into the prophetess? Verse 3, right? Then I went to the prophetess and she conceived and bore a son, right? Did you see that? And bore a son. Then the Lord said to me, call the name this, I can't pronounce that thing. For before, so that story concluded, right? That story concluded. So it wasn't futuristic, right? It was not futuristic. The story concluded there. Now, when I raise that kind of issue, what sort of questions should you ask me? Mm-hmm. Seven 10. Yeah. God with us. Yes. Yes. What these guys wanted here was that for them to know that God is with them in this crisis situation, right? And the sign I'm going to give you is that your wife is going to conceive. The prophetess, right, is going to conceive, right? And it happened.
So that name that you couldn't pronounce.
It didn't say, it's that whole scenario will be an Emmanuel situation. Right. It's going to be we can do a word study on that name and get more clarification. Right? And get more clarification. But the question you're asking is, this thing that we have believed all these years. I was expecting you would ask me, but Matthew, when writing the account of Jesus, referenced this. What was it saying? Basically, what happened there, Matthew was basically saying that this is reminiscent. Yeah. Not a fulfillment of that. This is reminiscent of what happened before, right? Absolutely. But what we've done is to just apply that Isaiah was talking about Jesus. That was talking about Virgin Mary. It was a messianic prophecy. That's what evangelicals and Pentecostals told us. Right? It's just reminiscent of that which has happened before. Make sense? Huh? Yeah. So there are a lot of, and you know, I promised I was going to share some scriptures with us. Maybe by the time we're talking about money. You know, we have those paradigm shifting imperatives I want to talk. Maybe when you're talking about money, I'll give you those, I think it's 17 in the scripture where tithe was mentioned. To give us an understanding, right, of this whole thing about tithe. Right? Number one, you are going to discover that God never commanded it. Right? He never commanded it. It was not part of the law originally. It was not a law. It started in a form of relationship. The first time it was mentioned, it was Abraham, right? In relating with Melchizedek. Right? And it was not at the instance of Melchizedek. It was Abraham, right? Who gave him a tithe of everything. We saw his son, Jacob, you know, having a deal with God. If you take me to where I'm going and you bring me back, whatever I get, right, I'm going to give you a tithe of all. Then Moses came and incorporated it, right, into the law. So it predates the law. Are you guys with me? Okay, let's come into our... You know, these things are important because of... do divination. Right? It's only Africans. They throw something on the floor and then... Those are the things you see in the Bible. That the Jews do. Right? In fact, I saw that YouTube when it says that what the Yorubas call Ifa is actually from ephod. Yeah. You know Ifa? How many of you are Yorubas there? Ifa? Yeah. Ifa is from ephod. When you study Yoruba and you see all this kind of like Ejiogbe and all those kind of things, it's just the way they try to find the will of God, Urim and Thummim. Right? So it's very, very, so let's leave that there, right? And I said, okay, do you know that? And listen carefully. That understand that God has no plan for nations. Nations in terms of geographical boundaries. There is no divine plan for America. There is no divine plan for Nigeria. There's no divine plan for Britain. Right? There is only divine plan for people who live within those geographical areas. Right? You can't get America saved. You can't get Nigeria saved. Right? You can't get Britain saved. There's no plan of God for Ghana. But you see, If majority of people who dwell within those geographical boundaries yield themselves to God, right? Apply their faith in business, in arts, in music, in politics, and they use their faith to affect that area. Their faith in God, their relationship with God will affect the economy of that country, will affect the moral, will affect, it will shape everything. It is not that the nation got saved. People got saved. I said, now let's take it further. These Africans that are obeying the law of God. I said, so today, there are two types of human beings on earth. And we have two lineages. The first Adam and the last Adam. Regardless of your color, regardless of where you come from, you are either fallen or redeemed. Did you get that? So God only has plans along those two lines. When he looks at the earth, he doesn't see color, he doesn't see geographical boundary, he doesn't, so if you are born again, either you are African, either you are American or Brit, whatever, there is no curse, right? He has redeemed us from the curse of even if Africa was cursed, the African that is saved, right, can no longer be cursed. Even if Britain wasn't cursed, the Britain that is not saved is under the curse. Because the dividing line now is Jesus. Are you guys with me? You see, these are the things because those things are just flying around. And you can't do whatever you want to do if you don't anchor that thing on sound knowledge and understanding of God. You have to. Your career must be founded upon your understanding of God. Right? Your business, your marriage, your parenting, your being a child or what. So those things are very important. Because of the times we're living in. The kind of faith, please stop me at any time rather than ask questions, right? Is that okay? So as you listen, just stop me when you have a question. And that's the way we want to flow tonight. Because we really need. This lady also told me something that he worked with Microsoft in Canada, as a They are impostors. So in this kind of world, you need to check how your life is structured. Check your life settings. So we looked at this, that these are the areas where we need to really make a lot of shift. And this is the one we've been focusing on now. Lifetime learning, right? Lifetime learning. My message, my Christmas message this year is also inspired by that. Right? That when God was going to save the world, he didn't bring an expert. He brought somebody who was going to learn. He brought a child. Right? He called a virgin. He called a confused guy who couldn't find it difficult to trust the girlfriend, right? Girlfriend just got pregnant. And he's saying an angel visited. You know? And God knows the level of the faith of that guy. The same angel that visited the girlfriend had to visit him. But the angel never went to any other place. Right? He only came to clarify things to Joseph, who was the stakeholder in the whole... So it's a very... He wasn't an expert who knew everything that God brought to save the world. And that's still what's going to save this world. It's those who are willing to learn. Those who understand that life is a process. Not a breakthrough mentality. You come into this meeting like a pauper, you are living like a millionaire. That's not possible. You steal. You are going to steal. It's November and say before the end of the year, God will bless you with a house. I mean, he can do all things, but honestly, one of the things he doesn't do is magic. So, that's the way we've been wired. Things just happening. Things we deny process. The musician wants his first album to be a blockbuster. Right? You're like a man. You're like a child giving birth to with beards. With baritone voice. You are looking at him. Do you have beards when you give birth to him? It's as if he's telling you, pastor doesn't know what he's talking about. You had... How old was he when you gave birth to him? How old was he? I hope I was just checking whether you remember. So that these are days of uncertainty. A lot of things are going to be coded to deceive. Right? So that you become like a mouthpiece for something you don't really know anything about. I call it radicalism. The world is radicalizing people. You just talk like an expert as if you know. Meanwhile, honestly, you don't really understand what you're talking about. How do you do that? It's learning. Learning cracks the code. Right? Learning cracks the code. So how do we understand this lifelong learning? And we said it's a school, because it's lifelong, it's a school you never graduate. When I was in Redeemed, they had a school they called School of Disciples. There's no graduation. Right? We are there, but I think they graduate now because I heard some graduation ceremony. They do now. When we were there, there's no graduation. You only matriculate. Once you enter, there's no graduation. And you see, that's the way life is. No matter how old you are, there are things to learn. Yeah. Sometimes from your kids. Yeah. Especially today. That's why I referenced Esther. Esther was obedient to Mordecai. Please stop me any time and ask questions, right? Because when it's maybe like 6:45, we'll stop. So Esther, Bible says, had not revealed her family and her people just as Mordecai had charged her. Because she obeyed the command of Mordecai just the way she did, right? When she was a little child. So she never got to a point where you say, I'm an adult. When you hear that, when you tell your parents that, you are saying you are still a baby. You have just grown in size. Anyone that says that, right, is an announcement of how immature you are. Do you understand that, Dele? You tell mom that? You don't? Okay. Yeah, because that people just, I'm an adult now. Or they remind you of their age. I'm 15. It's a glorious display of immaturity. You're saying that you're an expert now. You know something. We're not saying you don't know something, but you don't know all things, right? You don't know all things. So we say lifelong learning is a three-way process. Right? Number one is information dissemination. It's the most basic level of learning. Right? Ability to receive information even when you don't understand it. Right? But you receive the information knowing, trusting the one giving it. Right? There's a particular way, Yorubas want You enter a plane. Do you know whether the pilot is on a suicide mission? Has it happened before? Yes! Aren't you going to fly again? You will still fly. I always remember the one horrible plane crash that happened in this country that killed a lot of members of our church in Lagos. We went to commiserate with one of the families. We were just there. This man got up. He said, I have to go to my first day and fly tomorrow. Honestly, if there was any word we had that day for encouragement, for strength, that was it. You know, at this time, I was planning a trip to my mom. Everybody enters the plane there. You know, I know that was this thing was dropping bang, 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 like, you know, in this country. Remember, yesterday, one woman got there and put hand, sharp, pa, 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 pa. I said, if you want to sharp, don't enter. Lay hands on the plane, pray in tongues. Yeah. I'm scared, but people still. So, how do we help them? It's by teaching it like this. That is because a lot of people don't know trust. That's why they find it difficult. I think maybe it's part of, you know. So it's very important that there must be someone in your life that you don't play that card. That, I know what I've heard from God. No. Between you and this kind of person, it's not, you know, it doesn't exist. Yeah. It doesn't exist.
My question is, you know, at times people change.
Yeah.
And we're in an institution whereby you have someone like that. And you discover that
it's no longer living by the convictions. Yeah. Yeah.
Some of the things the person is now doing or teaching
It's contrary
to the word of God. What do you do?
Yeah, you see, you can't have this kind of a relationship. I mean, this kind of where there's no relationship. There are avenues. The Bible says something like in humility, correct? Right? In humility, correct. There are ways that you can throw up signals, you know, that, or you don't go to him, because the same Bible says, no rebuke and error. Right? No rebuke and error. So, we can say this is the way to do it, but there are ways. You know, there are ways in which you can, you know, one thing that helped me when I went through this kind of tunnel was, I mean, I was led to study David and the relationship David had with Saul. You know, David was committed to Saul till the end. And it got to a point where Saul who indicted himself. So David, you are better than me. Yeah. You are more righteous than him. I think you know. I said, why are you trying to kill a flea? Why are you chasing me? You know, he saw Saul when he would have killed him. His soldier said, this is Suya. They even put it as a word of prophecy. Today the Lord has delivered your enemy. Thus says the Lord. This is the Lord that has delivered. And he said, I will not lift my finger against the Lord. Even when they brought the news of his death, David killed the guy who said he killed Saul. That's being faithful unto death. But the same David, right, missed it. Killed Uriah, took the wife, right? And somebody came to town, right? So there are times where you have to know your limitation. Maybe the only thing you can do is maybe pray and honestly. But this is what I believe. If hearts are right, mistakes, we are safe in the atmosphere of our mistakes. Because that guy will have a time. I once worked with a guy, Peter, he will always say that. But Pastor Don takes a decision that I don't agree with. I don't agree with. That's the way it comes around, right? And just said, no, we're not going to do it that way again. The day he told me that, I said, wow. You know, so it's we can't overstretch the trust, right? We can't overstretch it. Honestly, if you are sincere, God may take you away from them. I have a particular story of a friend of mine in the UK who was the PA to the pastor. Pastor, if I give too much details, you might know the person. Pastor is from the West African country. Amazing church. Was his PA. It got to a time that this guy developed a relationship with his secretary. And the guy knew. Right? And he confronted him. And the next day he was fired. Right? He was fired. And when he was telling me this story, it was 2010. When he was telling me this story, I said, you know what, there are times, maybe to further clarify your question, but these are instances that you can apply the rule across board. I said there are times when you will no longer know who will break the camp of the Philistines, right? To bring back a cup of water, right? So when we bring back a cup of water, some of them drink it. Am I making sense? Some of them drink it, they don't pour it to the Lord. So sometimes we don't know who will do that. You know, a man that you will book his trip, and you know he's going on a trip with a girlfriend, right? And the man, you are supporting my wife against me. That was what he told you. Yeah. You should be, your loyalty should be to me. And the guy said, my loyalty in this case is only towards the institution of marriage. It's towards the institution of marriage. It is clear that this is not right. This is not right. That church is a Bible of man. He said, this is a guy who he believed. He said, before he started that church, he mentioned the name of the place. He take you to just go there and look around and come back. You go to that town, look around and come back. So he did that for maybe about 40. He said, who understand? In few months, the place was, by the time they started, sometimes might be success. That give us trouble. But you see, sometimes a leader extends a hand of fellowship. The follower doesn't take it. Right? They don't take it. It happens. They don't take it. But, you must be able to develop that kind of relationship where you can, like Abraham and God. God, I know you are God and man. But let me just see. Just one more thing, right? How about if there are 3 of them? He positioned himself where he took that in humility corrected. And there are times, with his friend, that you trust. Right? Honestly, there are some things there's no step 1 to 10. Because that's a very valid question, because I've seen it happen. Where this is totally, but it. Sometimes it can be fatal, like Uriah. Uriah knew. I always call it the scenario that people in that palace would have hated Uriah. Madame came yesterday. She came. Honestly, it was Buddha for a while. We're not saying anything, no, we just yeah. So Uriah knew, but look at the considerations of Uriah. Because David wanted to set him up, so that they can go. And by Jewish law, that shows the commitment of Uriah. He gave up his rights. He went to war, he just got married. He gave up his right to go to war. And he said, my general is in the war front. The ark of God is there. The army of the Lord is there. I can't go home. Even in a drunken state. The guy gave him vodka. Or God gave him vodka to drink. Vodka. We asked one sister this week, do you know vodka? I said, hey, who is? Or God gave him vodka to drink. In his drunken state, the guy didn't know. He stayed with servants. They gave him a letter to Joab. He didn't open it. So sometimes trust can be costly. It can be costly. But when I was reading the story, this is my take. When the armies of David were listed, Joab wasn't there, Uriah was there. You can say, well, the man don't die. Bathsheba was never called the wife of David. It was always called the wife of Uriah. So when you write the genealogy of Christ, Uriah's name appears. I don't know what kind of value we place on that because we've become so earthly that we don't put much value on things which are eternal. That's it. I'd rather die for something that's a good cause than be alive, and heading nowhere. These are critical issues. And that's why honestly, when it comes to church or especially where you want to say you have chosen to be the place where you want to serve God, it's like marriage. Like they say, you don't enter into this unadvisedly. It's something, but even with all that, your marriage is a risk. Yeah. Marriage is a risk. Right? It's a risk. Anything that happens. People change. That's the way life is. Right? That's the way life is. So what's acceptable risk? But to say nobody can be trusted, you lie. There are people that can be trusted. And you don't even know them by face. So the second level, the second tier in that process is being an apprentice. It's when someone learns a set of skills by apprenticing themselves to someone who has earlier learned. So it's a learner learning from a learner. Right? And this says that if you want to learn how to do something that is life-shaping, you need someone to show you how it's done. This is higher than information dissemination. So the question we asked last week was, who taught you how you are living now? Who taught you what you are doing now? You have a role model. You have a life pattern. You have someone that because this gives a bit of stability. Right? It's a relationship. It's critical for this uncertainty because it provides. Because somebody can tell you some certain stories. This is where this lives. I told a young man who was like my apprentice here years ago. I said, there's something I can tell you. This message leads to a place of untold wealth when you live. I'm talking about wealth in terms of money, wealth in terms of influence. Where I was taught this, the church where I learned how to be a minister. At the time, people buy our church stickers so that police will not stop. But they don't stop us. That's how much of influence we had. Are you with me? I said, this is where it leads. If we follow that same pattern. So there's a level of confidence that I have. Right? That is where it leads. So it's an investment that's worth it. To have someone that you can say, I follow his footsteps. And I think 2 weeks ago we looked at that word follow. Follow basically means imitate. Imitate. And Paul said it this way, imitate me the way I imitate Christ. So it is the duty of the one that is asking someone to imitate to show the other model. So that if I miss it, you never miss it. Because David missed it, Uriah didn't. Uriah was still committed to God. You can say, let's scatter everything. Everybody's behaving anyhow now, right? There's ethical doubt here. There's no reason to do things right. Or God has taken liberty, let's just do whatever. Right? So the next level there is immersion, which is mind sharing. This is where we learn, it is the highest level. It's when someone is put in an environment, a setting or culture, and learns by intuition. It's not formal apprenticeship. It's relationship. life on life. Just in an environment, something rubs off on you. And I gave the example of, you give birth to a child, maybe in America, or the person gives the asset without being taught. Right? God talks like that. He's speaking of what is seen, what is observed, and what is experienced. This is intimacy. This is where culture is created. It's deliberately being given access to the culture that you are hoping to shape. There's something we say here. You don't have to be smart to come here. But if you come here and stay and get immersed, you will be smart. In fact, sometimes you don't know how smart you are getting until you talk to other people. Right? Until you talk to other people. When you just express your opinion, someone says, oh, really? I wasn't like that. I said, that's the, it's unwritten here. Right? If you just get immersed in it, that's what happens. You become an intelligent believer. One who is not just given to any kind of thing, right? That's the way it works. So it's living together, living life together, in an intimate atmosphere where patterns and followers are never modeled together. At every point in time, we know who blazes the trail. Right? We know who blazes the trail. Paul never makes words. I'm a wise master builder. Right? And if anyone was going to build on this, be careful. You must reckon with the foundation that I'm building. You need to build according to the design. Right? That's why we keep saying it when everybody comes here, learn our ways, right? That's when you can actually do things according to pattern. There's a way. Because we are a piece, we are a local body, right? In the whole body of Christ. Right? So if we have this finger, we don't want to be this. We want to be this. Because that's when we are relevant. We bring our own kind of shape into the whole equation. And it's always very tough for the one who doesn't know how to trust. It's tough for the insecure and those who are set in their ways, and these people can't learn. They can't learn. Those who are not malleable can't learn. And that was what endeared David to God. He said, David is a man whose heart is like mine. I told him, if God can learn. Like I said 2 Sundays ago, right? God learned that this is not the way to, to actually set up human creation. For the first time he did it, he brought a full-grown man. Right? And it didn't work. I mean, and then he changed this, the strategy, right? He brought a child. And we see that pattern play out for our own learning. The first king of Israel was a full-grown man. It didn't work. Right? So he brought a child. He brought a David. The priest, we knew, Eli. We knew him, right there. After this didn't work, he brought who? Samuel. So that's God meant. In fact, there's a place, the Bible says God repented. When he was having a chat with Moses. Let's put it directly. Hebrews 5. Jesus learned obedience. You know why he had to learn obedience? It's God. God don't obey. So when he came to earth, he had to learn how to be a man. How to be in submission. He learned obedience. God does not obey. He's in charge of everything, right? Yeah. Are you guys with me? Please stop me when you have a question. So how do we ensure? Because intimacy can make us get familiar. And it might undermine learning. So how do we ensure that intimacy will promote learning and not undermine it? The 3 models must always be at play. Right? It must always, so it's not I'm in information stage now, then I graduate to apprenticeship. Then I graduate, to no. The 3 must, because at certain stages, certain levels, certain phase of life, we need, to be given to at least one of these. For example, look at the guy that just got married, right? As regards marriage, you need to listen to information. He's a child. Because it's a life he's never lived before. Right? So it takes place when there's an interplay of the three in a three-way coordinated process, depending on the level of the learner, because not all are the same. When you have adults and children in the house, you don't relate with them the same way, right? It gets to a point that it's not information that is given, it's expectation. Right? By the time you don't tell the child, go and swim, you expect the child to swim. Right? But at the time you tell, and then with time, you want the information now without you saying it, to just instruct the child. So that's an environment where information is disseminated to willing apprentices by both words and modeling. So the three are actually working there. Any questions? You guys are just stopping me. You're making me. Because you guys following me. It's your first time here, right? Are you flowing with me? Yeah? Who has a question? Let's look at this pattern of Jesus. It came to pass as he was praying the Saturday when he ceased. And one of his disciples said to him, Lord, teach us to pray. The same way John did. So those things are there. The guy has seen the pattern before, right? And then you see this guy is doing it. This guy might never, I don't think he saw John pray. The only thing he saw was that he knew that John taught his disciples to pray. But this time he saw Jesus pray. Right? So the principle is the way parents should train is the life they live, they must be able to put it on display for their kids. Leave it in the open for them to see. Right? So that when you display that life, it creates a desire. When they are truly disciple, because a disciple is a learner, that's the meaning. The word disciple means a learner. Right? When they are real disciples indeed, they will respond to that display by expressing, that desire. So learning happens when that what is displayed connects with the desire. Is that right? You see one guy living a certain way, and then you desire it. And say, I really want to live this way. People jump to such conclusions. I've seen many go and speak. Somebody to go, I want to do my mental. Because I just read one something. People don't know me. That's what they don't. You say another one tomorrow, preach a more powerful sermon, you run that person. By the time you grow, in the morning you are like me. The afternoon you are like that. In the evening, you become just a cocktail of personalities. Right? But this is not the first time. These guys have been with him, right? The disciples' request was for a life that I actually said all this. So Esther didn't just. If you read the story of Esther, Esther didn't just go against the law of the land. Right? He saw a trusted man to live. Right? Are you with me? He didn't just do it. She didn't just say, if I perish, I perish. Mordecai learned all that had happened. You know the story. He cried with a loud and bitter cry, and he went as far as to the front of the king's gate. Look at the law. No one goes to the king's gate in rags. It's against the law. They are killed. Right? Then Esther called such, one of the king's eunuchs whom he had appointed to attend to her, that was Esther's PA, and she gave him a command concerning Mordecai to what? To learn what this is about. So Mordecai put a lifestyle on display. This is what's going to settle this problem. If we allow the Lord to take its course, we'll all be dead. Right? He put that kind of life on you. You need to put your life on the line for this. Because for any meaningful transformation to come, the principle of the cross must kick in. There must be sacrifice. There must be that level of not loving your life even unto death. It's not that you're going to hang yourself, but you put yourself, because the word take up the cross. You know, that phrase in the Greek is called staros. It means exposure to death. Right? Death is a possibility. It's the highest level of sacrifice. That's what David was saying when the guy said that they brought this in jeopardy of their lives. So only God can take that. So Esther followed that pattern. And he says, so I will go to the king, which is against the law. So she's a learner. She's seen that done. Are you guys with me? She's seen that done. So lifelong learning happens when the prospective disciple observed the life pattern, desired, offered himself or herself to be tutored and mentored by the one with the skill. Right? We have a generation now that don't value learning. Everybody wants to do their own thing. It's critical. You have to know that I deliberately showed you that text today. To show you a model. So the ultimate intention of learning is so that we all might have a common culture. Right? You know this scripture. Jesus called the disciples, first of all, that they might come to him, that they might be with him, and that they might send them out. I'm going to combine that to another. So this call was to get immersed in him so that they can learn his ways. Because really the only one who can go is Jesus. So you must be like Jesus before you can accept. So you need to interact with him. So if you look at it, then in Matthew 5, seeing the multitudes, he went up on the mountain, and when he was seated, his disciples, and I put this in parentheses, those apprenticed to him came to him. What we read about here is an open invitation. Here, it was more of a response. Matthew 5. So there was a separation here, but he did not, he did not open any, any invitation, but only to those who are apprenticed to him responded. Am I making sense? He called, people came. He raised the bar, and people who wanted more, right? They went up there, and the one who actually, that was where I really gave them the interpretation of parables. The others just had an Greek lesson about how to sow, the kind of soil. Is it loamy soil? Loamy, right? Loamy soil, what is that type of soil? Clay soil. That's what those guys got. They didn't know that the seed is symbolic. The soil is symbolic. So when they talk about the meeting, they are talking about the Greek. And the master gave us an Greek seminar. How to plant. So that immersion level is about learning the finer details. And the finer details, they don't come in terms of information, they come by observation. That's why we say some things in the kingdom can't be taught. They can only be caught. You catch it. That sometimes I pray in my study and I'm praying and wishing that my daughter knows what I'm doing there. Right? Because the elderly ones give testimonies. there's nothing like that. Because every time you come out, so, they can connect it. It's Casey Price who said he deliberately does that when he goes to preach and comes back. He called the children. See, I went to pray, this is what he gave me. Show them the money. Right? Right? God blesses. You have to know that. Get that into your greasy head. Right? When you serve God, right? He blesses you. When you work hard. Say, if I go there and just rub rounds. This morning says, I work hard and make sure I'm so resourceful. And this is it, evidence. Children need that. So they grew up with that. So you can't talk, you can't argue otherwise. They tell you, no, it's not here. I say, I saw the money. When he goes, he always brings it back. Right? I saw it. So big chunks come in information stage. It's condensed. Specific skills are developed when you are apprenticed to someone. But immersion is what ties the words and the actions together to meaningful work. In fact, sometimes the one who is modeling doesn't even know how much is given because somebody is watching. Right? See, I use these principles for everything. I tell ladies that young girls, you should always know that somebody is watching you. Right? Someone is watching you. You might be interested. So the one that is being watched, you know that is being watched. Right? So, there's somebody watching you who will come one day and you see maybe you will just throw a tantrum somewhere. Hey, this one? Oh, this one will slap my mother. And no boys respect their mother. So, immersion is deep mental involvement. It's union of mind. You see, we can't take territories until we take mental spaces. We can't take physical spaces until we take mental spaces. The first message of the kingdom is what works here. Repent. It means alter the way you think. Right? Union. So immersion has happened when, in the course of time, the account of Luke in Acts 16 becomes our experience. Immersion has occurred. No, yeah, this is Acts 16. When Paul, who was the man there being spoken to? He said, a vision appeared to Paul in 9, the man of Macedonia stood and pleaded with him, saying, come over to Macedonia and help us. After he had seen the vision, he immediately weak. Right? I know this guy was just, there's a new movie out about Paul, and he said, should be Luke. You cannot paint the picture of, it wasn't that Paul sat and wrote all those kind of things. In fact, they showed there was a particular scene when Paul had a nightmare. Had a nightmare of what happened, maybe to Stephen and all this kind of thing. Then he woke up, started saying, started echoing what God said to him, my grace is sufficient for you. My grace is sufficient for you. That was how the movie painted it. And that was how it got to a point where he said the messenger of Satan was sent to come and punish me. And he said, my grace. That kind of a thing. It's very wonderful. In that movie, Luke basically kind of followed him all over the place and documented the things he said. That's how he wrote the book of Acts. So he said, the man stood and spoke to Paul. He said, immediately we sought to go to Macedonia, concluding that the Lord has called us to go and preach the gospel. It was only Paul that the man spoke to them. But they concluded. What is said to him is what he says to us. So immersion has occurred or occurring when what the Lord has spoken to the apostolic head becomes what he has spoken to all. That's when it becomes a culture. Regardless of where we go, we are carrying out the mission. Make sense? All these men of war who could keep ranks came to Hebron with a loyal heart to make David king over Israel. And all the rest of Israel were of one mind. The Message Bible put it, they were of one mind. Now put it in, it's like a quote. It's like they had all of them had the same like placards. Make David king, make David king, make David king. There was a union of will. And if you look at the basic symbol Bible used to convey what God wants to do with His church was marriage. Right? And what's marriage? It's a coupling. Right? Of two uniquely different things becoming one. That's why I said Jesus is the bridegroom, the church is the bride. There's no literal, my symbolic. Because some people still believe, I don't know, we'll have a wedding someday and eat fried rice and chicken. That I'm going to wear a wedding gown. Me. That's an insult. Yeah, I had a guy with TBA. So right now, my own gown is being, you're putting finishing touches to. I said, gown with you with all these your beards. Symbolic. Symbolic. There must be a marriage even in this community. Right? There must be a marriage in every business. Everybody must, sign off, right? Into the same thing. Paul's serious concern, which is mine too, he said, now I agree with you, brethren. By the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that you all speak the same thing. There will be no divisions among you, but that you will be perfectly joined together in the same mind as the highest level of learning. What did Jesus say at the end of his ministry? He said, everything that you have shown me, right? I've given it to you. He said, you all must be one, right? Just as I and my Father are one. You now say, you in me, I in you, we in God, right? That's how it's done. That's the whole essence of life, that will come to a point where we have a union of mind with Christ. So therefore, let us as many as are mature have this mind. And if anything you think otherwise, God will reveal it in this to you. Nevertheless, with the degree that we have already attained, let us work, let us subscribe to the same rule. Let's live by the same principles. Right? Buy into my idea of money. Buy into my idea of marriage. Buy into my idea of whatever. Buy into it. Because there must be no division. Let us be of the same mind. So that's, so in January we're going to take it to the next one, which is leadership. But for now, we look at learning. We don't want to be evangelists of what we don't know about. Listen to it. We don't want to be evangelists of what we don't know anything about, or what we don't need to about. We want to be learners, right? And be able to speak of the things that we see in the Word and be sure that the things we say they express the mind of Christ. Right? So learning is inclusive of information, apprenticeship, and immersion. Right? For it to happen, the three must always be there. Certain issues of life is just information. Certain issues of life now need to apprentice yourself to some skill acquisition. Life is it's about skill. One definition of wisdom I love so much is wisdom is skill for profitable living. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, is there any exit point for men?
No, it's lifelong. There's only matriculation, no graduation. You might have many teachers, but you have only five. That's what the Bible says. You just wrote it. You can't have multiple teachers. You can have multiple teachers, but you have no source. Yeah. You don't understand that? Yeah. You can, maybe you're a musician, right? Maybe somebody needs to give you some patterns about music. It might also be the person who is your mentor. But if it's not your mentor, whoever is going to teach you about music, you must have seen that, yeah, there's some things are there that will not run contrary to your source, so that it won't be bad water into fresh water and it get mixed up. And the person that you look to as your mentor, as your model, must ratify that. In fact, many times you want to say, I think you can learn from that. Yeah, you can learn from that. You look at that.
Should that be anything like the next level when you attain point of learning process? Anything like the next level after?
I always have problems with this though. I don't know what exactly you're talking about. It's the next level.
Okay, well, yes.
Because the people that talk next level, they can't define it.
Okay, what I'm saying is, I'm just wondering whether there will be like a phase where you need to undergo,
Life is like this, right? Until we all come, right, into the unity of the faith, the leg of the Son of God, unto a perfect man. Then we have, we grow up, become, the stature, the fullness, right, of Christ. And even in that, there are we all have Christ, but there are various degrees of expression of it. So it's very dynamic. You don't get to a point, like your friend said, all right, when we become like Christ, we'll just be moving around. It's from one level of glory, right, to the next level. Yes?
So, when do you know that you have reached the level where you can take somebody on your knee?
It's not that cut and dry, right? Because you don't go out looking for people under the wing. The one who sees the wing, right, is the one who will come under it. In fact, sometimes you don't know you're teaching people. I told you once in this job, I was very shocked when Daniel of Leba came to me and said, Justice came to her and said, I want you to be my mentor. He told Daniel that I want Daniel to be her mentor. And she came to me, she was shivering. She said, I should be her mentor. I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to do. I said, no, it's not that. The point is, she just kind of adores me. She likes me. She wants to be like him. So on Sunday she came to me, I want to paint my names. I said, go and ask Daniel. That's the way it works. Maybe she's on the good name and she doesn't paint. She has seen 119 in the church that paints. I want to paint my names. I said, go and ask Daniel. That's how you also encourage that kind of thing. So I said, you Daniel, my parting shot, this is that. Now you know someone is watching you. So you now know that you are modeling somebody that young. And I was so excited that this modeling, this mentoring thing is actually in the air, right? If an 8-year-old will go to a 14, then I wanted to mentor. It's very, so it's not about you going to look for people that you want to take under your wings. Somebody will approach you like that. Kind of life that you're doing, I want you to teach me. That's it. And like she didn't know that she's qualified. You see, you will never be qualified. You will never feel able. Those who are married here, you know that the day you go married, you're not feeling cool. I'm a wife now. You are kind of, the husband too. When the wife is shivering, the husband too is shivering. So, because a community of and then you have a child. I remember my wife said she didn't want to go home when they discharged her, when we had our first child. I said, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with that? But so you never really get ready for life. You are deceived when you think you are ready. Yeah. That's when you're deceived. And you know it. Let's take physical things. You enter the exam hall, you never feel ready, right? True? Yes. That's when you're scared the most, just when the paper is being dropped and then it's as if you don't know anything. But you know how it works. The questions just sort of trigger something here. So life challenges too, remind you, oh, I really have something. Right? There's something, but you will never feel ready. Never. And that's where trust comes. That's where a faith thing comes. Good question. Any other question? Okay. You have a question? Yeah. Okay. By the way, you're looking at me. It's a lifelong learning experience. Your progress. And never come to the knowledge. Yeah. That's been a bad steward of resources. Yeah. That's where I was trying to get to the book of Hebrews. Yeah. That's why I said there's a level where information is given. There's another level where there's expectation. Yeah. Go and break that. Next time, you expect the person to bring it without being asked. The person now understands that this is needed at this time. So good learners can actually, they take initiative. They use their discretion. And when it's really in a good learning environment, mistake is allowed. Right? But when mistake happens, correction should also be allowed. Right? Yeah. Yes, because we learn from the mistakes. That's one thing I know that is very tough for this generation. Correction is rejection. Just judging me. Right? Someone told me, said, it's as if since I started working here, you have never really seen anything good about this place, about what I've done. I said, because you are not hearing it. When I commend you, you just take it in its strides, right? It's expected. When I correct, it's as if he doesn't even see anything good that I've ever done. I said, I can give you instances. But those things are taken as if, well, it's my entitlement. But when you are corrected, people see it as rejection. It's Salvation 101. He whom the Lord loves. Right? That's the one who corrects. If you walk in here and you wear the right shoe, right foot in the left, maybe by mistake, and I see it, I say, I don't want to correct you. When you get to where they don't know you, they look at you. The way his face, he looks like that man we saw yesterday who has a mental problem. Maybe he runs to the family. But I just told you, Chief, this should be where I try to, and then you, why did you say that? It's embarrassing. It's just telling you now, right? That you've not done it correctly. I know his children don't even, they just take it when you correct them. I know children too, they like to correct. Make sure if you bear with my family now, make sure justice not happen. You didn't say sorry. Because you've told her before, when you bear, say sorry. So you now bear to walk away. She said, no. Daddy, you didn't say sorry. That's what is good for the goose. Yes. To imitate it.
So I'm thinking, when you say imitate, does it necessarily mean like dress like a mentor, act, talk the way he talks, or what do you
You know that's not what I'm talking about, Steph. If you talk the way I talk, you will embarrass yourself. You won't like it. Sometimes I don't even like the way I talk. It's not in those literal, it's in life now. Life is fluid. Yeah, when it said, let us live by the same rule, that's what it means. Let's live by the same rule. The same principles of life guide us. Like we see that in Africa, in our family, we don't do that. Yeah. We have beliefs, we have affirmations, we have aversions. We are known by that. That's what it means. Because if I don't know, to imitate, we don't, even the person you are imitating, you are not on the same phase of life. So it can't be that literal. But if you are going to imitate me, you need to have this kind of hairstyle. And I don't know how that's going to work. I know you don't like this kind of hairstyle on you. Maybe you like it on me, right? So it's not on that literal level, but it's it's life on life. And then it really gets predictable. That you want to say yes to a guy, and those signs are there, and the procedure is obeyed. Like I said, I don't want to start the story in the middle, right? You want to tell me now and say, this guy, we actually met about 5 years ago. And I said, 5 years ago, where were we? We'll trace it back, right? But you can't start your salvation by baptism, right? You get baptized before you give your life to Christ. That's it. You can't just start the journey anyhow, right? That must be the beginning. So those are the kind of things we all must subscribe to. Right? We announce it here. You just got to this church, you just come in and you already have a relationship. Come and tell us. So let's start from there, because we were not there at the beginning. Right? So, but tell us, let's take the journey from when you joined us, right? These are things that are. Don't come and tell me I proposed to her yesterday. Really? Yeah. This must be I want to propose to this. Then we do background check. Hello, what? Go and consult the oracle whether this is good or not. Right? Does that sound African? Go and do background check whether what is there. God show us the end of this. Looking like, oh, we have not done something wrong. But you say you married in 2017, you didn't marry, you are still here. And I told you, declare it is open. Right? You want to go the way of Pope, there's room for it here. Right? Gimmicks. Just let me have a look at me. And I don't commit. And I didn't tell him. So I'm going to do this now. Right? Any other? If there's none, let's just pray. Yes. Juliet has it. Juliet, right? Okay.
You said something about modeling with desire.
Yeah.
And then desire is a room for one to
To learn.
Now my question is this: as a learner, or as someone who is learning under someone who is learning, what is just a thought? What happens when you are modeling and you see no desire from those learning?
From those who are supposed to have the desire.
What's supposed to happen?
Okay.
That's one. Then my thoughts again: if modeling brings desire, does that mean that there has to be a conscious effort to
lead.
Okay, because I'm just thinking of it in terms of, I don't want to use leader because that word leadership we want to talk about. Modeling, being,
Yours,
yes.
if you are the one modeling, focus on modeling. Don't control desire. Right? Don't control it. Let the one who is supposed to desire choose to desire. You focus on modeling. Right? That's what do models do? They display themselves. Yeah. They put on because they want you to be able to admire that dress or whatever and go buy it. That's it. So they don't control that. They just want to make sure that they put something good on display. Right? So you understand your level, right? And focus on your own assignment. That on this stage of life, I am supposed to be desiring. In my relationship with this person, I'm supposed to be desiring. In my relationship with, at this phase of my life, I'm supposed to be modeling. Right? Someone had to remind me of recent. He said, you have to watch what you say because you are an opinion shaper. Right? So that reminded me, okay, I need to be conscious of the opinions I express. Because people will take it. Right? So I want to be sure that it's well thought out. Now, I can't control how people take it, but let me control what I say. Right? So that it's exemplary, it's accurate. Yeah.
So desire can actually be a yardstick for modeling, just because.
That's a good question. Yeah. If you put something in your shop and nobody comes around, come and say something else. That's like my pastor's wife's shop. When I do business, I open a boutique. Nobody came. Nobody came. And one day she came there and the gate man said, "Madam, please no blow, rain no fall. This signboard just came down." Nobody showed up for months. Nobody. And she came one day to come and check the shop. The gate man said, "Madam, please no blow. Rain no fall. This signboard just came down." That's the last one. Just close the place. He just do, used to say, they don't do welfare. I mean, there's no other way. So if you model, nobody. Funny, but but true. But really, the thing is, if it's good, if it's exemplary, you will have disciples. Yeah, you will have disciples. And don't control the disciple. Don't control. Let people be able to put your life on display. Right? Put your life on display. Right. Let's bow our hearts now and just reflect on what we've heard, what we've been exposed to. Learning is about hearing and valuing what you hear enough to be able to heal it. Whatever God gives must be consciously received. Paul says, "I am what I am by the grace of God." He said, that grace that was given me, I didn't receive it in vain. He said, I used that grace to labor. Let's look at those reflective questions. Who speaks to your life? The life you live now, what you do now. It's your mood. Family who's shaping you. Shaping your mind. What are you becoming? What's your perspective of blessing? To what extent do you hear what you hear?
Father, we thank you tonight. Thank you for all you've revealed to us in the course of this learning and this teaching. We're deeply grateful for the way you lay your mind bare in this place. Father, we know when you do that, you also pour out your grace. But I pray tonight, myself and for everyone here who's joining us via our live stream, that Lord, we will not receive this grace in vain. But we'll be able to appropriate, squeeze out the juice, the vitamins, the beneficial stuff from this. Make these words, Lord, to us relevant. Make it, Lord, executable. You said the words that you speak, they are spirit and they are life. Let these words shape us. Let it become life-giving to us. Let it arrange us, O God, in such a way that we are fit and appropriate for your use. But you know the level of everyone here. We are not all the same. But Lord, we thank you because we are reaching to all. We can meet each and everyone here, Lord, regardless of that phase of life, that stage of life where we're at. But I pray for everyone here, Lord, that we bring each and every one of us, Lord, to a personal experience of you. And the word that we've had tonight and in these past weeks, Lord, that we will come, Lord, to a deeper understanding. That which humans can't communicate. But that zone of human life where only you can reach. Lord, I pray, Lord, that you take this word further. Pray for everyone here like Paul to consider what I say. And may Lord give you understanding of things. In Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Alright, so in January we begin to look at leadership, the realities. And I really want us to take a cue from Sunday, where to kind of want to engage in your own kind of Deuteronomy, right? Get the messages you listen, you've heard before. Buy the tape and listen. Let there be a second telling. A second telling. A second telling. A second telling. So that we come to a point where truly we know that God over these years has built a reputation as a faithful God. Right? He's a faithful God. That we must hope. And with that hope, we pick up our lives and we say, let's go. We really, really want to be useful for God. Whichever way He desires to use us. I pray God will give you the grace to be able to realistically do this so that you want to give you an experience. Good night.